Well, good afternoon and welcome to another webinar here by the Society of Photographers, supported by our fantastic friends in Loxley Colour. It's absolutely brilliant to be back. Debbie has joined us before. She's done choosing the right products for your business. She's also done increasing your average sales through products. And today we're moving on to the third segment, which is product pricing and profit margins. So Debbie, welcome back and thank you for joining us again.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be back. Really enjoyed them.
It's brilliant to have you back. The last couple of webinars have been really interesting. Certainly like how members and photographers can use products, to up their business, make more profit, and that's really what today's webinar is all about, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of the icing on the cake, that last little bit that's so important and should never be forgotten and should be kind of at the forefront of every business, is what that bottom line figure is. And I think now more than ever, sort of a lot more photographers are bringing products into, if they were selling from online galleries, they're now bringing in that in-person sales, more products, and trying to get more out of each of those clients, with it being the current sort of climate that it's in, and trying to make more money.
Yeah, I mean, well, the fantastic thing about products is we can use them for our past clients, so it doesn't have to necessarily be we're thinking forward. We can almost think backwards. We're starting the run up to Christmas now. I know it sounds this year has actually gone really fast, all things considered, but we're starting to get into that, thinking of Christmas and certainly of presents and stuff. So don't forget that you can use products. If you're not able to out shooting this year, you can contact your past clients and offer them wall art or albums of a session or a studio session, parent books and all that kind of stuff. I hope I'm not taking too much off your webinar, but it's just now is the ideal time to start thinking about using products to keep your business going throughout the next couple of months. So it's now a perfect time, this webinar, to discuss these kind of things.
Yeah, I definitely think that selling to past clients is something that they can do, even if they have got sort of full studios or anything like that. Whatever genre, if it's a wedding photographer, they can sell past clients if they've only bought USB, or if they did buy an album, they could potentially sell them a wall product. We've created, during lockdown, we created a toolkit which is great for sort of templates for adding in client images, sending them off. We've created flyers that for email marketing, sort of with some unique selling points of products. It's just all about maximizing, not just thinking about the only opportunity to sell is in that viewing room after the shoot. There are other opportunities as well. So I think it's about taking advantage of that.
Perfect. And with that introduction, I think we're perfectly ready. Time to go straight into the webinar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my video feed from the webinar. If you do have any questions for Debbie, then please post them in the comments and we can either answer them as we're going along, or as we usually do, we'll save them for a bit of a Q&A towards the end of the webinar. So I'm going to bow out for now, but thank you very much, Debbie, for your time today. We really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to the webinar.
Brilliant. Thank you, Colin. That's great. So today we're going to be talking about product pricing and profit margins, as Colin mentioned. Obviously, really key, and product pricing is something we get asked. That's the most common question I get asked from photographers, is what should I price my products at? And obviously, profit margins are a key part of that process. So product pricing we'll touch on first, and obviously I said it's the most asked questions is what to mark up your products. It's easy sometimes to mark up, to know what to charge for your services. Some people do it different. They'll have a studio session and then they'll add the products on, or some people have it, they can have it is a free session and they come in and then they've got to sell products on top of that. So how you do it is entirely up to you, and that is your business model. So again, it's very personal to your business, and many factors to consider, and one size doesn't fit all. Is my screen sharing now, Colin? Am I sharing? Yes, I am. It's fine.
Yeah, you're on.
Fine. That's fine. No, I was just checking. So one size doesn't fit all. So you need to be comfortable with where you are positioned in the market. And also you need to know your figures in detail. Now, what I mean by that is, first of all, sort of positioning in the market and be comfortable with that. So there's no point if you're starting out thinking that you're going to be, necessarily right up on, having a really high price, and also you don't want to be undercutting yourself either. So you need to be where you feel comfortable selling. If you're apprehensive about saying a certain price, that's your barrier for saying that to a client, then you need to consider that as well. But initially, you need to know your figures in detail. This comes up in a lot of webinars that when we've had guests, both Colin and I have had guests on, about knowing your numbers and knowing where that actually falls in. Knowing all your fixed overheads, all your product prices, including the shipping costs and the VAT, if it includes VAT, etc., etc. So you need to know all those in detail, and also what you need to draw out of the business as well as your drawings. So knowing those figures in detail is really key and a perfect starting point for you to know where to price your products. So key points on pricing, and this has come up in my past 2 webinars in more detail, and because that was more on increasing your average sales and making sure we went through specific products on how to give a higher perceived value to that client, because the client will see a product they might not see the difference between something printed on aluminium and a canvas, whereas they're priced completely different from your suppliers. Whereas we do a gallery block, for example, which is a comparable to a canvas. We do a 30 by 20 for, I think it's around £70 mark, whereas an alumini printed on aluminium, which is much higher and amazing premium product, that's around the 140 mark. So you're looking at double that price. But to have something where you can pitch yourself to, and also not limit yourself is key as well. So go back and have a look at the average sale, increasing your average sales webinar that I did for the societies a few weeks ago. So first of all, key points I want to go through. So have products individually priced higher than in your collections to attract higher average sales. So for example, you might have the products individually priced at maybe 5 times your price your cost price for that, and then maybe when you group them together with 4 or 5 other products, you can maybe bring that down to maybe just multiplying them by 3, for example, or even 2, wherever you are pitched in and you're comfortable with. So start where you're comfortable and slowly increase pricing. So obviously we've touched on the fact that you need to be comfortable with your prices. You need to be comfortable saying what you're going to charge for your products. And then slowly increase those prices so that you can slowly get more and more comfortable, because it is hard being in that sales room and trying to get that sale. And I think we've touched on in previous webinars just on how to almost pre-sell a little bit and do that soft approach so that you've almost sold the products before you get into that viewing room. So again, do not limit your sale and always have add-ons, so that you've got your 3 collections, for example, or you've got groups of products on the walls that you can sell to your clients. Always make sure that you've got something to add on. For example, you might have a wall product in a heritage frame on the wall. You could also have a small, some desk frames in the matching heritage, or you can add a book or prints or something always to add on, even to the collections. You may have an incentive for them. Say if you buy the middle or top package, you can have a selection from an a la carte menu with a 20% discount. Try and encouraging them to buy even more. Sort of giving them ideas, putting ideas in their heads for selling, for not limiting the sale. For example, you can say, are you thinking about anything for grandparents, or anything for Christmas presents, or anything like that? Because we have a great selection I can suggest, and things like that. Always being able to add something else to that sale, so that your sale isn't limited to an average sale of £400. You're going to have much higher average sales because you've got those add-ons. Because never preconceive what that client is able to afford. So moving on from that, understand your ideal client and make the sale easier. So understanding your ideal client, and this is something I know that a lot of guests have been talking about, ideal clients. because obviously you need to know that ideal client so you can market in the right place for that client. If you're wanting that high end, if you've got high price, you've got premium products, you're doing a premium service in a fantastic studio, anything like that, you need to be attracting a certain client for that. So you need to be prepared for that with your literature, with the whole experience, and the whole look and feel from start to finish, from first contact point to your after sales with them as well. So understand your ideal client so you can make that whole process easier. An easy one to help with pricing and to also help with the sale is to have literature done, nicely presented, uncluttered, and with images as well, so people can relate. If you're sending them away after their shoot with some literature on pricing, you can point out a few things as they take it away, and also show them on the wall so that they can have an idea of size, because size is something that clients do struggle with. You might say a 30 by 20, they may use a tape measure, but to be honest, they're not going to be able to stand away from the wall and think, oh, actually, we probably need the next size up. If you can show it in a place, in a setting that's like the home, you could set this up. If you don't have a studio, you could even set this up at home. You could put some the wall product behind a sofa, or in comparison to maybe your TV or something like that, so that you can give that idea of the size to the clients. So literature is key, and make it on and have it done on some nice quality paper as well, just so that it does look nice. Maybe some glossy. We do some trifolds and things like that. They're quite popular with these, and you can do them in small runs as well. So if you do change your pricing, you're not stuck with 5,000 price sheets. So, and also if you add on any products, you can just clearly be able to do another run of the price sheets. So don't be afraid to put prices on products that you've got on display and also on your website. If you're not comfortable with putting it on your website, which I know a lot of people are, and there's sort of pros and cons to both, they think about the competition, think about putting people off, you want to get people through the door, but remember, you want your ideal client to come in. So if you think your ideal client isn't someone who spends very much, or has and you want them to spend more, maybe you put starting from, or maybe the session fee is that, and products, we've got a range of products starting at X amount just to maybe get them in. But if you are getting people in, then you need to not be afraid of putting your prices on your website and the literature as well. But again, as they're going round, if while the shoot, if it's a newborn shoot and they're not involved in the shoot, the parents might want to have a look at the products and to get an idea and absorb those prices that are on the products. It's not going to be a shock when you actually say it, and you're going to feel less apprehensive about saying, oh, that's £1,000, that one. Need to be confident in your prices. This is why I go back to feeling comfortable about your pricing, because you have to be able to tell them what that price is without thinking it's something they can't afford. And finally, price for profit. So this is what we're going to move on to now, because this is what you're in this business for. Otherwise you would go and be an employee somewhere. So you love what you do, but you need to make a profit. So you need to look at this aspect. So pricing for profit, there's 5 aspects on view. So if you have a notepad and pen right now, please just jot some of these down. So we're going to cover off these 5 aspects that we're going to view today to make a massive difference to your margins and in turn your growth. So first of all, we're going to look at the volume of leads. So that is how many leads you get in. So if you've got an example of what you did last year, I know this year is very different, but we can look at as if we're going into 2021. So look at the volume of leads that you get. So that's a figure. Your conversion rate, that's another figure. The number of leads that you actually create into bookings. The number of transactions that client will have. So if that client just comes in once a year, the number is 1. Also your average sale. So you need to know what this average sale is, and also then what your margins are. So you need to know what your overheads are, what your drawings are, and also what your product costs are for the average sale. So we're going to look at each of these 5 points individually. So make some notes of what these figures are as we go along. So firstly, we'll look at leads. So firstly, you need to look at where they are coming from. So So where are your leads coming from? So these might be from a lead generation company, they might be off Groupon, maybe they might be off Facebook marketing, your adverts on Facebook, maybe from flyers you've sent out. There might be some links that you've done networking within your industry. So it might be at various, if they're from a wedding dress shop, or there might be, if it's wedding photographers, or it might be newborn photographers, it might be a scanning clinic or maternity shops or anything like that. So you need to see, where are your leads coming from? Where are most of your leads coming from? And which of those are the most valuable? Let me get rid of that. So which are the most valuable leads? Because that's obviously where we want to channel in most of our energy. So if a lot of your leads are coming from Facebook ads and you're spending £50 a week on it, or whatever you're spending, you need to think, okay, well, I'm getting 100 leads from spending that. So if I spend twice as much of that, I should get 200. You need to monitor this and check those, how valuable those are. So also, finally, we need to see how we can increase this by 10, 20% a year, if not more. So that might be just by putting some more money in, like we said, or it might be by looking at other options for lead generation, that if those leads aren't valuable, if they're not high spending leads. So see where they're coming from and what they generate, what their average sales are, what they generally spend. So, because it might be that you're actually throwing money at just getting £100 from each of these clients. Well, that's really not a good way of spending your time and marketing budget. So that's your leads. So let's now look at the conversion rate. So conversion rate is the percentage of leads that become customers. So we need to have a look at what that is, so we can finish off with the spreadsheet at the very end. So, and how many customers did you have last year, for example? So this is a good starting point. So if you don't know how many leads you necessarily got in, might be worth looking back over what number of customers you had. So for example, if you do 4 shoots a week, you're going to get, how many is that a year? So that's 208 customers a year, for example. So you know what that is, and we're going to look at it on an annual basis so we can see what your final figures are. So also where the majority of the leads come from, so that you can obviously push more effort into that, obviously the quality ones. And finally, how can you use these customers to generate new leads? Because obviously the conversion rate might be higher with different ways those leads are coming in. So Facebook, there may only be a 10% conversion rate into bookings. However, from actually customers referring from referrals might be 25, 30% or even higher. So you need to see where that is, so that you can again generate more, put more effort into that, and give incentives maybe for customers passing on new leads. So the conversion rate is really key on that part. So next one out of those 5 aspects of view is the number of transactions. So this is how many times do your customers buy from you. So we're going on a 12-month basis, because this is what we base our figures on, but you might do it on a 2-year basis, however you do it. So all of these can be adapted to how you work your figures out. These are just key points for you to think about in your business. So have you tried loyalty schemes or remarketing to past clients? This is something Colin and I spoke about at the very beginning of the webinar, and that is really key at this moment in time, to, if you've got less people in, to remarket to those past clients and try and sell them more products. So that can increase the number of transactions. So even if next time they only spend 25% of what they spent on when they did in-person sales, then that's actually making them in that year spending 1.25 times number of transactions, because we're going to base it on the average sale. So if it was £400 they're spending in in-person sales, and then maybe you sell through online galleries or by reselling to remarketing to them later in the year, and they spend another £100 maybe just on some prints for family, Christmas presents, things like that, and they've actually had 1.25 transactions from you in the year. So really key to remarket to them, and as you'll see by the final figures in the end when we get to the end. So that's our next one, number of transactions. So again, average sales. So this is another thing that you need to make sure you need to make a note of what your average sales are. So this is the calculation of all your sales throughout the year, including zero sales, divided by the number of customers you've had in. So if you shoot, you can also do this. If you shoot different genres, you could also split those to get an average in each genre and then an overall total. So all previous figures need to be separated as well. So that is quite a key thing as well. If you are doing multiple genres, especially if you're doing weddings and you maybe want to now add on boudoir photography and maybe also newborn photography. So if you actually split them in, you can see what is actually generating you the most profit margins, the higher average sales. And if that is boudoir photography, then you need to channel more of your effort into marketing that. So it is good, because you might end up ditching the others because you're making such a difference between the genres. So that is key if you are doing that, to split those up so you can take advantage of that. So we need to look at how you can increase your average sale. So again, this is something that we touched on. Well, it was the whole webinar last time I came on, and that is increasing your average sales through product. So if you're not selling products, this is you just add products. Obviously, that gives a good perceived value. Grouping products together, making packages, making it easy for people to buy. If you've got a collection on display, maybe you've got a 40 by 30 framed product and maybe two smaller ones, 2 12 by 12s either side, so that it's shown on the wall as a collection and on your literature. People can envisage buying that as a whole lot, especially if it's in the same shoot. So it's from the images are from the same shoot. So that's key to increase your average sales. And you could simply just increase your average sale, but your price list by 10% as well. And a combination of those usually works quite well to increase that average sale. So we did touch a lot on that last time. So if you want to have a check that out. So that's a key factor. So profit margins is number 5 and the last one on these 5 aspects of view before we get to the final figures and what difference it can make. So this is the exciting bit, but often not as good as you think. So we need to take out all of your costs, including your drawings, so that we can get to that. So if you've got a list of all your overheads, if you've got a studio, all your insurances, all you spend on training for the year, and travel, equipment, upgrades, any cost, all your costs included there, and what you need to take out as well. So include that if you want to do it as a separate bit. So you've got your overheads and your drawings, so you can see exactly do that, but it needs to be a final figure on that. So for example, a £300 average sale with maybe £100 worth of products is only the start. So your profit isn't £200. So we've got you need to work out all your other costs, so including your drawings, and divide them by the number of customers in that year. For example, £20,000 per year cost divided by 200 customers works out an additional £100 per customer. That is one way of working it out if you actually have quite a set number of clients in every week. So add the product cost of £100 and you're left with £100 profit, net profit per customer, which is 33% margin. Okay, so we're going to work on that fig basis of a 33% margin. Okay, which if you actually increase your pricing, you can actually and cleverly work your products, you can increase that as well. So ready for the magic. We're going to see what it can make. Doing all those 5 aspects of view, what we can actually do by increasing all of those by a small amount, what it actually makes to your bottom figure. So first of all, we're going to work on an example, and we're going to base this. I'm going to base this basically on an example that we recently ran a lead generation challenge on Facebook with a number of customers, and that was basically they did a Facebook page to try and get leads, and it was a wanted, mother and daughters or whatever that was, because it was different for different genres. So they did that, and they put in a £50 boost on Facebook so that they could get those leads. So this actually generated between 200 and 300 leads from that post on average. There was some slightly lower, some slightly higher, and obviously I'm going to go with the lower end of the majority, which was 200. So that boost was 200. So say we did that, and we did that promotion every month. So we're sort of spending £50 a month on those Facebook lead generation posts. So that would equate to 2,400 leads in the year. Okay, so and because it's a Facebook ad, and the conversion rate isn't very high, we're looking at probably around 10%. So this is our 10% conversion rate. So if we take those leads, and this is obviously annually, which I think equates to around four shoots a week, maybe a bit more. So you've got 2,400 leads multiplied by the conversion rate of 10% gives us a customer total of 240 in the year. So from that, we're basing it on a number of transactions. So you just sell them once when they come in that 12 months, and that is it. Okay, so this is our current situation example. So we're going to base it on a £400 average sale. This is based on portraiture. So this £400 average sale. So we take the number of customers times by the number of transactions times by the average sale of 400 gives us a turnover of £96,000. So obviously we take off all of our fixed overheads and everything like that, which is we've worked out on the previous equation that we're going to work it out on a 33% margin. So that 33% margin, remember this is an example, you can put your own figures in, and I'm happy to do that for anybody and work these out for you. It gives you a figure, and this is on top of your drawing. So you've taken out your salary, and you've ended up with a profit of 31,680. Okay, so now what we're going to do is actually increase this by 10% and see what happens. So I'm going to put these same figures in, and we'll see where we end up. So without starting with 2,400 leads. Now, if we increase this by 10%, the number of leads. Now that can be through having more spend on the Facebook. So we might end up spending another £20 or running it for another week or something. Our leads have increased to 2,640. So we'll stick with the same conversion. On our current one is 10%. So our conversion rate, if it increases by 10%, works out at 11%. Okay, so we've got now 11% conversion rate. Now that conversion rate is just by probably better sales technique on the phone. When we're phoning them up, we maybe start with a text, and then when's the best time to call. We'd better maybe have a better landing page for where that Facebook ad goes to. There's all sorts of tweaks that we can improve that conversion rate, probably to higher than 10%. So now we have got our number of customers. So why is that not changed there? Let's change that. So that's 240 there, our number of customers. But here it has changed, it has increased by 290. Now that isn't 10%, as you can see, because because these are both increased by 10%, this is increased by more than 10%. So that's our first increase, and now we've got 290 customers in the year. So if we're normally doing a transaction one a year, so as we mentioned earlier about increasing that number of transactions, okay, so that's with after sales, that's with trying to resell to them, trying to remarket, maybe getting them in for another shoot, or which hopefully should increase it by more than 10%. But if you're just trying to resell to them with marketing, trying to get them to do something extra with online galleries, or maybe just some prints or something like that, then that can easily increase just to 1.1 number of transactions in the year. So our average sale, so we were doing it at 400. So if that average sale increases, it only increases to 440 with a 10% increase. So it might be just a 10% increase in prices, might be adding some more products that have got a higher perceived value, just adding that. So we increased it to 440. Not a huge increase at all. But obviously now that we've increased the number of customers, and then we've increased the number of transactions, and the average sale. So multiply all those together and we shift from turnover of 96,000 to 140,553. So that is a huge difference by just some small incremental changes along the line. Now this is the real good bit, the bit I like. So the margins, so we were working on a 33% margin. So let's see what happens when we increase that by 10%. So that will increase, I think, 36%. So our profit margins have increased to 51,000, just over 51,000, as opposed to just over 31,000. So that is not a 10% increase in your bottom line. So increasing all of those factors, so your profit, your margins can simply by trimming a few bits and by making sure that you're getting products that look amazing on the wall, grouping them together so that they have a higher perceived value. You can get higher margins just from improving your products and adding products to your range. So then obviously you can see there is a huge difference to that profit margin at the end. So I'm going to do an example. That was an example with a 10% increase. I'm going to do the same with a 25% increase, because again, when you look at the individual sections of this, it's not a huge increase. So let's go again with the same number of leads. So we get 2,400 leads in a year. So we're going to increase them to 3,000. Now that might be from better remarketing, getting people to refer you, to using your better sources and everything like that, which in turn will also increase your conversion rate, because you're obviously getting better quality leads. This is why if you don't monitor how you're getting your leads, what conversion rate you're getting from them and what the average sale from each of those clients is, you cannot make these changes because you do not know where to improve. You can just throw so much money into marketing on Facebook or marketing through any other lead generation source, and it could not be working for your business. And this is why it's so personal to your business. So the conversion rate's just improved to 12.5%, which again is not a massive change, but look what change it's made to the number of clients we've got. So with those 375, so whereas the 240 is about 4 a week, isn't it? So we're looking at 7 a week. So we're looking at 7 clients a week from this source of lead generation. So again, number of transactions. So again, we're going originally from 1. So this is selling to now 1.25 times. So again, online galleries easily sell. So if your average sales are the £400 or shifting up to more, then you're just selling another. It's £400. Another quarter of that is £100 the next sale from them. So you could be, that's just a bunch of prints, it's nothing, and so your margins will be higher on those as well. So we're going again. So our original average sale is £400, so that will increase when it's by 25%, which is by another £100. That's £500 average sale. And from last webinar that I did, you'll see that obviously you've got quite a high chance of being able to increase that average sale. Just go back and have a relook over that. So then you can see what's happened to the turnover by just increasing those by 25%, which if you look at those, they are realistic increases. They're not high, but your turnover goes from 96, which to be honest is not a great place to be at, because it is just over the VAT threshold. So you are looking at needing to take a big jump, even if it's just 10%, because I think that increased it to about 150. So you're looking at 234,000 revenue for the year. That's a nice, from doing 7 shoots a week, but by making those changes. Now let's see what it makes to our changes to our profit margin. So originally we were 33%. So increasing that profit margin goes to 41% by making some tweaks, and your margins, your profit, and this is after your drawings. So you're making from 31,680 to 96,679. Now that's a healthy profit margin that I think everybody would like to see. But this is quite easy to do. This 25% is is achievable. Yeah. And if you target to be doing that and you get somewhere between the 10 and 25%, you know it makes a huge difference. I'll go back to the one that we did for 10%. See, 10% increase, you know, it's jumping you up to 140,000. And that is just barely any changes here. That lead generation by just, you know, having a better image that you show on your marketing, or, you know, something that really grabs people's attention, you know, being better on the phone to increase your conversion rates, you know, then your customers will increase. But remarketing to them, if we didn't change that remarketing, let's just say, so say our number of transactions was still one, so say we didn't remarket to them, the difference to the bottom line from 51,000 goes down to 46,000. So, and that's off your profit margin. So, but your turnover has gone from 140 to 127. So it's a big difference, and all you have to do. Sorry, I'm in the wrong box there. All you need to do is remarket to them, sell them another £100 worth, well, another £40 worth of products in a second sale from online galleries, and you increase that turnover to 140, and then in turn your profit margin to 151. I'm going to do the same for that, the 25%. So if we didn't increase that number, as you can see, the turnover is 234,000 there. We're going to increase that number of transactions. If we didn't increase the number of transactions, we didn't resell to them, that goes down to 187. So come on, guys, remarket to these people. Now is the perfect time, because A, we're struggling, we're coming out of lockdown, and B, you know, we want them, you know, they can be in the studios less, you know, so that is, you know, another reason to do it. And it is just, you know, to get another £100 worth of sales just from sending out, you know, something to all your past clients. You all use some of, you know, the like Light Blue, Studio Ninja. You've got your databases of customers. Send things out to them. Get some, increase those, because that is key. And just changing simple things like that can make a huge difference to your bottom line. And turnover of 234,000. I think we would all want that. But yeah, that's me, Colin, all done on that. If anyone has any questions, please fire them at me.
No, that was fantastic, that, Debbie. You know, a really interesting webinar, you know, just as you said, and I think you mentioned it on one of your previous webinars, but just the small changes can make a massive difference. I think on one of the previous webinars you were saying, just by you know, grouping products together and getting that extra, you know, being able to upsell a package, maybe, you know, doing it once, you know, getting an extra £100 per session might not seem a lot, but over the course of the year, wow, it can really mount up to a massive amount of money. So yeah, no, really interesting again today, Debbie. Really good.
Excellent. Yeah, I know little differences, little changes just add up so much on the bottom line. And it's something I think quite often photographers and any business owners don't step away from their business enough, you know, and just to analyze, okay, let's dissect those 5 aspects. So
I think we might have lost Debbie just there. Her computer's frozen on mine. Oh dear, I think so. Well, what we'll do is, I think Debbie has unfortunately frozen out of the webcast, but she had completed the presentation today. So from all of us here at the Society of Photographers, Debbie would like to say a massive thank you for joining us today and providing those details. Don't forget, we had a few questions coming on. Don't forget that these webinars are backed up. So you can view them on our Facebook page, our Facebook group, and www.thesocieties.net/webinars. They are all hosted on there. So if you kind of tuned in halfway through and you were going, what's Debbie going on about here? Then you can tune back into them, and you can get the webinar backed up on the website. She's just come back on, so I'm not too sure what happened there.
I think I lost Wi-Fi all of a sudden, so that couldn't have been better time to do it at the end. Anyway, so sorry about that.
No, it's fine. I was just signing off by saying a massive thank you for you joining us again today, and for the Loxley team for supporting the webinars. They're real vital webinars, these ones. So a massive thank you for joining us again today, Debbie, and we look forward to getting you back on very soon.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care now.
Cheers, Colin. Bye.